Okay, fellow crafters, for this Santa face, we are going to use a mop head, mine's already been cut off, but it was a Santa hat, a wooden block. Without the hole would be good, but these are from the dollar store. You get a big pack of them. I have tons, so I'm using that. Some googly eyes and a wooden, mine is a wooden bead. I'm just going to turn it this way for the nose. And then I'm going to use, this is ALEEN'S original tacky glue, all purpose. I couldn't find my fabric glue, but I believe this will work just as well. So, first thing first, I cut off my hat because, you know, we're going to put the other trim around, so we don't need that big white chunk. But I wish I would have left my hat a little longer. Let me show you. So my hat goes down plenty long enough, but it doesn't fold over much. So that's what I got. But I would tell you, if I was you, I would leave a little more of the red. You could have left it longer, pulled it up higher, and then it would fall down. But it is what it is. That's what I got. So we're going to end up putting this. This is going to be for our face. It's going to be somewhere in here, and we're going to fill it in with the trim. So I'm going to glue this down, and then we'll go ahead and work on the little face piece while this is drying. See, I could have put it up higher to make this come down longer, but it bulges right here. The black's up there, the black plastic, but this yarn right here still bulges out. So I'm just going to go ahead and go with my boo-boo. I'm sure those of you that craft often, you know, sometimes the boo-boos, as that old painter, you remember the old painter, he used to say a lovely little mistake or something to that effect. Often if you just go with the mistake, it turns out fine. So I'm just going to do this all the way around. I just want to make sure it's on the flat of my mop yarn. I don't want to be gluing to the under pieces. I want to be gluing to the top layer. All right, while that's drying, we're going to go ahead and do our little face. So this whole square is just going to get glued onto the front of the mop head. And then we're going to put the fur around it, which we can cover that, come in close here. But the thing that's going to cover the bottom is going to be his mustache. So you could do it. You could go in and I took this from out of the center. Inside of here, just picked a random one and cut it off. So you could do 2 or 3 of those and maybe twist them together. I'm going to put them kind of like this, little strips. But do it however you want to. The point is you want to cover this bottom because this is just going to get glued on the front. So I'm going to go ahead and stick down my eyeballs. And the trim that I'm going to do, you don't have to, this is really a quick and easy project or a more difficult one. It's up to you. Because you could take some of this trim and then put it around the face and then glue the whole thing on. You could use pipe cleaners. In fact, if I'd had enough white pipe cleaners, that's what I was going to use. And you could make a cute little mustache with them. I also was going to put some in little, you know, make them little swirls and then glue them on for the trim. And then make a fancy little mustache. You could curly cue it up, you know, one of those kind. Whatever. You also could put some little glasses on him. As usual, my video is just trying to give you some inspiration and get you going. Now here's what I'm going to do with mine. I'm going to trim it on an angle like this, and I'm going to keep doing pieces like that and have them kind of overlap. So I'm just unfringing. I want to make sure I'm going to like it before I glue it down. Well, let me do a couple practice pieces and see what I think. Okay, I've got mine at this stage right now, and I'm going to let it dry, everything to get good and firm before I trim off this. But while we're waiting for that to dry and the hat to dry, we're going to work on the fringes. So for the fringes, we're just going to take some pieces out of the center and cut them all the way to the top. So I'm going to start with six. And alternatively, if you don't want to take out of the bulk, you could just give the whole thing a trim across the bottom and use these fringes. It's totally up to you. So I'm going to put myself a glue line where I want my pieces to go, and then just whack one off and stick it down. Don't mess with it too much until it gets dry in the glue, because it will start to fall apart. So try to cut them all about the same size, but again, if you have to come back later and cut it off, you can do that. So basically, this is all there is to it. We're going to do this for the trim on the hat. See what I mean? If you mess with them, they start to come apart. And the trim out around the mop to look like our little fluff, our little fur. Really, once I get this on the face, trim off the mustache, let it dry. Then we're going to glue that to the, we're going to glue it here, and we're going to continue doing this process until we're happy with it. And then you'll have yourself a Santa. So I think you got the idea. I'm going to go finish up mine. And then I'll be back and show you what I've got. It's only July. Well, by the time I get this video up and edited, we might be in August, but it gives you plenty of time if you want to make several of these, if you want to put them on a wreath, or if you want to give them away for door hangers for your friends, whatever. So it's a little bit time consuming, but it's cheap and it's fairly quickly. So I'll be back when mine's complete and show you what I got. Okay, so I did my little mustache, and then I didn't think it was really thick enough, so I went and added another layer on top. And I also brought his little fringes of his hat in a little further. So this is what I've got so far. Now next we're going to take our mop head, and you're going to take the top layer, get them straight across like this. I'm going to go all the way to the edge. And we're going to put some saran wrap underneath, some plastic wrap underneath, so that our glue won't go through all the different layers and you'll just have one big hard mess. We just want the top layer to hold it. And since I cut my hat so short, I'm going to put my head down a little further so that I can put my trim up here without covering up so much of my hat. But if you left your hat longer, you could put your face right at the edge and then put the trim around. So I'm going to glue him here, and I'm going to start adding the rest of my fuzzies for my hat. Okay, this is what I have so far. And the more I look at it, I'm thinking, not sure I'm in love with that mustache. So as I was cutting off my little pieces to glue on, every time I ended up having a long fringe at the bottom, or sometimes a little short one. But I put these up here to look at it, and I'm kind of liking this. It gives it kind of an old world Santa look. I'm not sure I'm going with it yet, but I'm going to lay it on here and look at it for a little while I continue my fringes. Now I've got this part here. I'm going to start going back up and go all the way around, but I'm going to let the front dry and then flip it to the side and start to go around the back. It's just going to be a little band, enough to cover the edge of my hat. And then after that, I'm going to flip his little pom-pom down, glue that. And then I'm just going to take a string of this and glue it on the back for a hanger. So I will come back and show my finished product when it gets completed. Alrighty, so I have completed my Santa head. And I didn't go all the way around with my band because it's going to lay flat on the wall or the wreath or whatever. So I just cut one strand and I glued it here on the edge of my hat so the hat wouldn't fray. I put this hook, which looks terrible, but it's going to be in the back. I had glued it nicely, and it didn't hold right. It was leaning a lot, so I had to glue it up further. And now when it's against the wall, it holds flat. So the only tip I can give you is when you have a long piece like this one right here, you can just smush them down, or you can come along, like this one's too long. You can come along and trim them with your scissors. Oh, I ended up doing the mustache like this. I didn't really... The short one was kind of little boyish looking. This is more old world Santa. Anyway, you also could go along and trim the fringes, make it nice and straight all the way across. But with the old world look, I think it looks better like this. And the only last thing I'm going to do, I looked far and wide for something to decorate his hat. I'm going to glue this somewhere over here on his hat. And there you have it. To be honest, guys, this was an easy project and fairly quick. It looked like that was very time consuming. I got this whole thing done in one day. I've done projects that have taken me 3 days a week that looked like they would be quick and easy. This little guy, if you cut a bunch of the little bunches that you glue on here, cut a big stack of them, and then just get your glue stick. It goes fairly quick. You have to, I use this ALEEN'S tacky glue, which is holding very well. And I did like this section, laid it off and let it dry. Flipped it, did this section, laid it off, let it dry. Flipped it, did this section, laid it off, let it dry. And this little guy has already found a new home. My kids usually don't care too much about my crafts. They don't watch my videos. But I showed it to my one daughter that's really big on Christmas. And she has kids. And she said this was her favorite of all the crafts I've done. She loved it. So I'm happy that it's going to have a new home. And that's it for today. I hope it inspired you. I hope you give it a try. I'm telling you, it's really easy. And I will see you on the next one. Don't forget to subscribe. If you need any help, you can always leave questions in the comments, and I try to answer them quickly. But sometimes if I don't, someone else will answer and have a better answer than I would have. So, have a wonderful day. Bye.